Hello and welcome to the AIM webinar series. I'm Mike Ellen and I serve AIM as their member engagement manager. AIM is an alliance enabling the cooperation, development, and standardization of AIDC technologies. From barcodes to RFID to IoT, AIM's your advocate. Any organization with an interest in data collection is a beneficiary of these efforts. Membership provides an opportunity to influence the direction of the industry, develop policies and standards, access market reports, and engage new partners. Before we get started, there are a few housekeeping items I'd like to go over. First is our antitrust policy. It's the policy of AIM Inc. to conduct its operations in strict compliance with the antitrust laws. No activities shall create even the appearance of a violation of the letter or spirit of the antitrust laws. Next is our collaboration and work product policy. This states that committee meetings and presentations are held for the primary purpose of advancements in our industry, which necessarily involves development of work product intended solely for the public domain. AIM's developed this policy for the protection of its members who engage in this important collaborative effort. And just some other housekeeping items. You will notice that you are muted. You'll be muted throughout the webinar. If you have any questions, you can send those to this presenter through the Q&A dialogue option located on the bottom of your screen. We'll answer as many questions as we can at the end of the webinar. Today, I'm here with Lauren Roman. Lauren develops Everledger's business in metals and minerals, focusing on engagement with industry associations, brand owners, and stakeholders in supply and value chains. Lauren will be discussing electric vehicle battery traceability for a sustainable future. Lauren, take it away.
Thank you so much, Michael. Let me get to my first slide here. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon if you're on the East Coast. I'm in the Seattle area. So let's get started. Just start by giving you a little background on how I got involved in this. So I spent the majority of my career in electronics lifecycle management and recycling. And that industry has tremendous challenges and difficulties that really all stem from the lack of traceability and the lack of accountability and transparency. And so after being in that industry for 20 plus years, I really started getting interested in auto ID and started getting involved with AIM and also the RAIN organization. That was probably about 5 years ago. And that eventually led me to, as we all a few years ago with the emergence of and popularity of blockchain. And I came across, did some more research, and I thought that the combination of blockchain and AIDC might actually be able to solve some of the problems in the electronics recycling industry. So I met up with Everledger when they had joined the Global Battery Alliance 3 years ago. And they really needed somebody to head up the batteries vertical for lithium-ion batteries. And so we're starting with the electric vehicle batteries and the portable lithium-ion batteries, and then moving on after that into other electronics. I currently chair the battery cluster for FACETA, which is the International Federation of Automotive Engineering Societies. And I also chair what's called an exchange and tracking subcommittee for the International Alliance for Advanced Transportation Batteries. And I work very closely with the Global Battery Alliance, which is a project of the World Economic Forum and others and other organizations. So thanks so much for your interest in this topic, and I'll do the best I can to share some good information here with you. So just a quick overview of what I'll be covering here, and then launch into it. So just a little background on our company. Leanne Kemp is our CEO. We just turned 6 years old. We have probably pushing 100 employees in 7 countries. Leanne's background is actually in auto ID. And she started out with the interest in, she also has a background in in the diamond and jewelry industries. And she thought that blockchain would be a way of establishing and proving provenance of diamonds from the mine, so that by the time those diamonds get to the consumers could be ensured that their diamond is sustainable and real and is not a blood diamond. So we started out with the diamond supply chain, and now we're into wine and apparel and many other things. I'll show you a quick little video to kind of overview of all that. So why electric vehicle batteries? So as we all know, greenhouse gas emissions is the biggest challenge facing our world today. And as you can see on this pie chart, 29% of those emissions come from transportation in the US. In other countries, it's even higher. So, low-hanging fruit of reaching our goals of the Paris Agreement, Paris Accord, focusing on transportation is one of the fastest ways for us to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions with electric vehicles and powered by electric vehicle batteries. So, in addition to greenhouse gas, there are other drivers that are driving electric vehicle sales. And one is dropping prices. Electric vehicles are expected to cost less than internal combustion engine vehicles by 2025 to 2029 timeframe. And the range is now almost the same as internal combustion vehicles. The charging infrastructure is getting much better, and you probably heard some of the commitments that different governors have made and that Biden has made on charging infrastructure. Reduced charging time. I mean, it used to have to plug your car in overnight to get a charge, and now I'm reading about technology that's really getting close to the time that it takes to fill up your car with gas. Many more models available. GM alone is going to have 20 new EV models by 2023. And the auto OEMs are moving to EV only sales. They're not even going to be selling internal combustion engines in this decade. Again, I mentioned the US commitment to the Paris Accord, and of course that's the global commitment as well. And the international drivers for OEMs, countries are moving quickly to EV only sales. Great Britain moved up to 2035, their target for EV only sales. California's target is 2035, I believe. And as we know in the United States, many times as California does, from an environmental standpoint, other states follow suit. So we're expecting this to really continue to expand across the country. So just to give you even a broader global picture of what's driving all this, the European Commission has proposed a battery regulation just at the end of last year that includes producer responsibility for electric vehicle batteries. It's very comprehensive. It's including a electronic exchange platform that's part of the bigger Digital Europe initiative. And they were supposed to vote on it in February, and it was delayed, and they don't have a new date, but the implementation is supposed to be in January of 2022. So it's going to happen soon. If anybody's interested, you could just look for European Commission proposed battery regulation, and you can see the whole thing online. The Global Battery Alliance, I mentioned earlier, a project of the World Economic Forum. They are working hard to develop guidelines and standards for a global battery passport, which is basically the digital ID for an electric vehicle battery, which I'll be going into. We call it the same thing at Everledger. Here, as I mentioned earlier, the UK they actually reduced it from 2035 to 2030, their goal for moving to no petrol car sales. in the US, the Department of Energy launched a couple of years ago a $5.5 million lithium-ion battery recycling prize. And we actually submitted 2 applications, and one was for a circular economy for electric vehicle batteries that we partnered with Ford and recyclers and repurposers on that. And the other one was closing the loop on portable lithium-ion batteries, where we put a digital ID on a battery and on the batteries and on the collection boxes. And so when the consumer gets to the collection box, they can scan the QR code on the box. And when they do that, they get a reward for that recycling activity. And that's to increase the number of lithium-ion batteries that are recycled in the United States. In New Zealand, the electric vehicle industry is designing a product stewardship scheme. And so they actually, it's a New Zealand battery industry group. And now Everledger is leading a pilot to get that whole thing launched with Audi to trace their electric vehicle batteries. Rwanda also has mandatory enforcement of EPR, which is extended producer responsibility regulations for all battery types starting in 2021. So you can see here, you know, Germany has a battery act requiring manufacturers to take back EVBs. China has mandatory producer responsibility, which includes life cycle tracking. And you know, as things tend to go in China, you have to use their system for the digital ID and for the tracking platform. And in Australia, there's a number of initiatives. The biggest one that we're involved in is tracking minerals that are mined in Australia from the source and being able to brand those as Australian mined minerals, because there are huge human rights and child labor issues in the battery supply chain associated with cobalt mining, lithium mining, and some other mining of some other minerals that go into all of these batteries that we use. So Australia has responsibly sourced minerals, and so obviously wants to be able to take advantage of that. So I'm going to show a little video of the Everledger platform, and this just kind of gives you a quick company overview. It's just a minute. Let's see if I can get this going here.
Every object has a good story to tell, but how do you turn that good story into good business? Welcome to the Everledger platform. Using blockchain and IoT technology, we shine a light on all the unique steps that make your product, its origins, its journey, the reasons to love it. Everledger helps everyone to trust what they do. Every object has a good story to tell, but how do you turn that good story into good business? Welcome to the Everledger platform. Using blockchain and IoT technology, we shine a light on all the unique steps that make your product, its origins, its journey, the reasons to love it. Everledger helps everyone to trust what they buy. Our secure platform unboxes the lifetime story of any product, from diamonds to clothes to wine bottles and electric vehicle batteries, to grow sales and protect your brand against counterfeiting. You can generate new demand from like-minded suppliers and buyers, showcase your sustainability record, and make claims with backed-up evidence about the reasons to love your product, and invite partners and customers to tap into your world. Fully customizable, secured by blockchain technology, and faster than ever. Make transparency a good story for your business with the Everledger platform.
Great. So our platform, as you can see, it's flexible for a variety of assets. And so just getting into how it works for electric vehicle batteries. So this is, you know, a typical supply chain, or, you know, life cycle chain for a product. Lots of information when that product is developed, and as it goes through its life and gets repaired and changes and it gets recycled, a lot of that information is lost. So what we try to do is for life cycle tracking, actually, I think I might just jump ahead one slide. So this, what blockchain does is it takes that linear information chain and networks it. So basically all the computer, everybody, all the data that's shared on computers at all the different stages in the life cycle, everybody can see what's happening to it. So if a module was swapped out of a battery, the car mechanic can put that onto the blockchain so that the next person that sees that battery can see what changes happen to it. If it gets to an auto recycler or a garage and the battery needs to be removed, they can send it to a recycler and know what the chemistry is. They can report what the state of health is, and that helps to improve the efficiency downstream. So let me just see if I can go back to that other one. So just some other benefits, regulatory compliance, again, knowing what type of battery it is and what condition it is. A lot of times recyclers and reprocessors get these batteries, they call them black boxes. They just, excuse me, have no information. So we can also embed safety information in an IoT tag. Ensuring that batteries aren't just sitting in storage, knowing where they are and who has them. Again, improved efficiency in repairs and refurbishing and repurposing. There are regulations around packing and shipping, so that information can be included. And eliminate shipping batteries to the wrong party. So if we have a state of health, a recent state of health on a battery, we can share it with the repurposer and say, does this have enough energy to be repurposed into an energy storage battery, or does it need to go to recycling? And so they can save a lot of inefficiencies by knowing that ahead of time. And ensuring responsible recycling at end of life, the longevity of these critical metals that go into batteries, which according to projections, are not going to last for, for the volume of metals and minerals that we're going to need for the projections that we have for the growth in electric vehicle batteries. So here's where you guys come in. This is all dependent on auto ID and data capture. And so for our starting project, we are identifying the battery and this whole thing, as you can see, if you're unfamiliar with an electric vehicle, the whole bottom of most electric vehicles, the entire bottom of the car is the battery. So it's a huge part of the whole picture with electric vehicles. And as you can see, there's all these little icons here representing different types of AIDC. And we're trying to be technology agnostic and be flexible to what our customers are already using on their batteries and parts. And so the battery passport, which I mentioned in relation to the Global Battery Alliance, it's just the digital identity that's connecting the battery and the critical parts to the internet, so it can be managed, and it supports data exchange. And, I mentioned some of these benefits of regulatory compliance, knowing what the condition of the battery is, expediting servicing and recycling, safety, state of health, easy screening of batteries, and so forth. We have one of the other features of the platform is what we call an exchange. It's essentially a marketplace. So if a garage has, or as I said, a auto recycler has a battery that they need to get rid of, they can post it on the exchange with the state of health and the chemistry and whatever other information that they have on that battery. And if it's a decent state of health, the icon here on the left, meaning, probably 70%, maybe even 50 to 70%, it can last another like 10 or 12 years as energy storage, but it doesn't have enough power to power a car. If the state of health is worse, it would be slated for recycling. So they can find each other. The recyclers and the repurposers can find the batteries, and the garages and the scrap yards can find the recyclers and the repurposers. So this is the demonstration of the actual platform, and I'll run this quick and then we can start wrapping up.
Today, Everledger is demonstrating how connecting electric vehicle batteries within a blockchain platform can optimize life cycles. Here's how data can be shared to improve safety, enhance efficiencies, and ensure responsible end-of-life material recovery. Logging in and accessing the dashboard provides at-a-glance battery information, and every participant in the network can have a customized view that's relevant to them. The Asset Vault helps to manage batteries and modules, and detailed information can be uncovered by clicking through to the Battery Passport, which shows general information about the battery, its chemistry, state of health, and more. This information can also be accessed by scanning an IoT device on that specific battery directly. Similarly, the Module Passport also gives more detailed information about the module. Batteries and modules can be transferred peer-to-peer between network participants via their registered email addresses. And in this way, the platform captures the chain of custody of battery and modules throughout their entire life cycle. When a battery reaches its end of life in an electric vehicle, the life of its module can continue. Here, a repurposer has the ability to disaggregate a battery and reuse the modules to create a new energy storage battery. In this way, we are still able to record the module's journey past its life as an EVB. The repurposer has the ability to create a new battery on the platform. In order to perform this function, they navigate to the Asset Vault. Here they can select previously disaggregated modules to design a new energy storage battery. By accessing the Create Battery screen, participants can simply insert the remaining battery attributes. Finally, with the details confirmed, a new digital battery is created on the blockchain, ensuring the complete journey is traced from its origin to the point of responsible recycling. Because at any point, when a new battery or module reaches the end of its life, it can be transferred directly to the recycler. Once received and processed, recyclers can lodge recycling evidence and data as an event on the platform, which can be shared with permissioned stakeholders. The secure sharing of information helps manage EVBs to final recovery and beyond, creating a circular economy for all electric vehicle batteries in the market.
Whoops.
Today, Everledger.
So just a comment about that video, that a little demonstration. You saw a lot of data entry there, and we're really an API first company. So a lot of that, the populating of that data would be automatic via API. So that what you just saw is our phase one of our battery solution, and the next phases will be greenhouse gas accountability. So because of the Paris Agreement, every enterprise has commitments and targets for reducing greenhouse gas. So it's a huge selling point. And at the end, I'll just go over, some opportunities for you all on this call. So, another feature that we'll be adding is being able to trace the greenhouse gas usage literally ultimately from the mine through the supply chain into manufacturing throughout the life cycle, and then the greenhouse gas offsets for recycling and repurposing. And that information will be available. There's, as I said, just a very big demand because it's very, very onerous trying to track your greenhouse gas emissions. And if it can be done on a blockchain platform, it's a huge benefit to users. Provenance from the mine, very similar, like I mentioned earlier with diamonds. We can, and here's where digital IDs come into play by forensically identifying that the minerals at the mine and being able to track those all the way through the supply chain into manufacturing and into the electric vehicle. So battery manufacturers, for example, and vehicle manufacturers are demanding proof of responsible sourcing. It's also a requirement of the European Commission regulation, and California's looking at a similar requirement. So it's being able to not just say what you're doing, but to prove what you're doing is a huge benefit. So for the AIM members, what this is really is an opportunity to add value to your customer's AIDC solution. So you might be working with an asset manager that is using a tracking solution. But if you haven't spoken with the marketing people that are concerned about branding or environmental or sustainability people, you might be leaving some opportunities on the table. You could ask them about their greenhouse gas goals and commitments, what their pain point parts are, what their biggest challenges are. And as I mentioned, the time to capture and this data is a big pain point, and it's being required by customers and even by law in some places. And then risks to brand integrity in the supply chain around human rights and child labor, and even counterfeit products and part substitution. So that's all I have, and I really appreciate the opportunity to explain some of this to you, and I'd be happy to answer questions.
All right, thank you, Lauren, for your information. And we still have time if people want to continue to submit questions. That's just that question and answer option at the bottom of your screen that you can click and just submit those to me. But Lauren, let's get started. The first question we have is, what is the timeline? When will this platform go live?
Okay, so we're starting out with Ford, and we are going to be doing a proof of concept for, I think it's 6 months, starting probably early this summer. And then later on this year, we'll be moving into the other features from the minerals from the mine, which we're right now working with some mines and other stakeholders in Australia, where we have a pretty big presence. And then after, probably at the same time, we'll be bringing in the greenhouse gas part of it.
Next question we have is it just a solution for Ford and their stakeholders, or can other organizations participate?
Yeah, so we were really fortunate that to be partnering with Ford on this, because they came to me and said, we want to do a demonstration for the industry, so not just for Ford. And really, that's what blockchain is good for. It's really to unite ecosystems of people to share information. So yes, Ford will be our first customer, and then once we finish the POC and iron out any wrinkles, it'll be open up for OEMs, recyclers, repurposers, transporters, all the other people in the supply chain. In the life cycle.
Okay, thanks. Another question we received is, do you have a suite of APIs that would support data capture companies' involvement on your platform?
I know the answer is yes, but I can't elaborate on that because I'm a vertical expert. I'm not the technical expert. So, but I'd be happy to get a bigger answer, a fuller answer for that. If anybody would like to shoot me an email, my email is right here, lauren@everledger.io.
Great, thank you, Lauren. Another question we received is, does the solution use the original ID on the battery, or does the system generate its own ID? And does it also manage battery modules and even the cells?
Great questions. So the first part is both. So for example, with Ford, they use a 2D data matrix on their batteries and on their modules. So we'll be using those for that piece of it. But then we also want to be that exchange marketplace that I mentioned at the end. we want to be able to capture batteries that are already out there and don't have an ID and aren't connected to the platform. So we're working with the Automotive Recyclers Association and the Automotive Service Association to make their members aware of this. And they can actually lodge batteries that are not connected to the platform onto the platform. And we'll probably be using an NFC solution for that. And providing those tags to the individual businesses to put onto the batteries.
So Lauren, I know you just gave a bit of an answer to this, but they were just asking what type of AIDC solutions can be used to help trace the batteries. You just said NFC, but are there others as well?
Yeah, there certainly. I mean, you know, RFID is a little tough because that would mean that everybody would need to have, you know, readers and so forth. And unfortunately, we're finding out that some of the garages and auto recyclers don't even have internet. So fortunately, it's a small percent, but it's still the case. So the you know, the least technology demanding solution that we can come up with is probably going to be the best for the larger population.
Okay, great. Another question we received is, can you tell me more about the collaborations you work with, like the New Zealand Battery Industry Group? How are they involved in this process of sustainable batteries?
Okay, so New Zealand has no electric vehicle manufacturing on the island. And so everything gets imported. And they want to make sure that when these batteries come in, that they just don't wind up in places where they don't belong, and and ensure that the critical minerals in the batteries get recovered. So the government announced that they were going to implement a producer responsibility scheme, making it required by law for the importers and the vehicle OEMs to, it wouldn't be the importers, the vehicle OEMs to trace the battery life cycle. And so the automotive industry in New Zealand said, well, we want to be involved, and we want to help design it because we want to make sure it's going to work best for us and our businesses. So that process has been going on for about 1.5 years. And now we're doing the demonstration with Audi, which you know, sells a good number of electric vehicles into the Australian market. Did I answer the whole question?
I think so. Yep.
Okay.
Another question we received is, do you see these platforms like the one by Everledger being used in other markets for sustainability?
Absolutely. And you know, the European Commission with their battery regulation, they say, you know, they're saying right from the start that this solution for batteries is going to be implemented for other products in the future. Because, you know, I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe 5 years ago, we started hearing the term circular economy. And basically, you know, all that means is creating products with end of life in mind, so that there really is no complete end of life, and that the product can be reused, or the materials that go into the product can be reused over and over again. And enabling that with traceability is essential to make it effective on a big scale. So yes, you know, it's companies are looking at it for many products. You know, there are many products that have issues in their supply chains, just like batteries do. Like I said, diamonds, but there's even, you know, even cotton and coffee and other products that we buy. There's a lot of due diligence that needs to be performed by the brand owners to ensure that they don't have any you know, human rights and child labor violations in their supply chain. And, you know, by tracking and sharing data on blockchain, you know, we can make it easier to address those things.
Another question we received is, this person said that they presume the solution communicates with the BMS of the battery. Is the manufacturer open to share this information to third parties or the public in general?
That's a super, super good question. So yes, so the BMS is where you can capture the state of health from. And we are working with manufacturers to determine what information on the BMS that we can share, and how we're going to share that. But if the manufacturer says, nope, that's our proprietary technology, nobody's touching our BMS. Now, of course, there's a motivation to let people have access to certain information on the BMS because if anybody doesn't know what a BMS is, it's a battery management system. It's a computer system attached to every battery, and it tells what the state of health of the cells and the modules in the battery are. So if they don't want, they should be motivated to share at least the state of health and the chemistry, because that reduces their costs of recycling and repurposing, because it makes those two things easier for the people that are providing those services. But if they don't want to, there's technology for assessing the state of health outside of the vehicle. So you don't need the BMS, and you don't need the vehicle computer to get a state of health reading. Because there's not that many electric vehicles on the roads yet, I don't think that those are widely available, but that's going to change as that uptick in electric vehicles continues.
Okay, and the last question we have here is, has there been any significant setbacks in using blockchain that you've seen, and how are you able to troubleshoot those issues if you had any?
Again, I'm not on what we call the product side, which our product is a blockchain platform. But I think my answer is no. I don't think there's really been any significant setbacks. What's key is really, working really closely with your customers, making sure that the user interface is what they want. Troubleshooting, adding features that, nobody thought of at the beginning that now they think are important, and being able to incorporate those. But, we use Hyperledger Fabric as our blockchain technology. And we have, to my knowledge, there have not been any major issues with that.
Okay, great. Well, if anyone else has any other questions, Lauren, once again, has her information available on the screen right now. Lauren, I wanted to thank you again for your time and your knowledge today.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. And yes, I'm happy to answer any other questions, and would love to talk with any of the AIM members and work with you on including blockchain in some of your solutions.
Great. And I'd also like to thank the audience for their active participation today. Thanks again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay. Bye-bye.